I am holding in my hand the Muslim Brotherhood plan for the destruction of the United States, written 5/22/1991. This plan was presented as evidence in the Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terrorism trial ever in the history of the United States, where our government handed down 108 guilty verdicts for Muslim Americans and Muslim American organizations raising money to support terrorist organizations in the Middle East to the tune of millions. And I'm just going to read you a paragraph of this plan, so it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Understanding the role of the Muslim Brother in North America. The process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process with all the word means. The Ikhwan, which is the Arabic word for brothers, must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, so that it is eliminated and Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religions. Is this clear? But the most important page of this document is the last page. Because in the last page, they list 29 front Islamic organizations set up in the United States with the specific goal of sabotaging America from within and destroying. I am holding in my hand the Muslim Brotherhood plan for the destruction of the United States, written 5/22/1991. This plan was presented as evidence in the Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terrorism trial ever in the history of the United States, where our government handed down 108 guilty verdicts for Muslim Americans and Muslim American organizations raising money to support terrorist organizations in the Middle East to the tune of millions. And I'm just going to read you a paragraph of this plan, so it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Understanding the role of the Muslim Brother in North America. The process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process with all the word means. The Ikhwan, which is the Arabic word for brothers, must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, so that it is eliminated and Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religions. Is this clear? But the most important page of this document is the last page. Because in the last page, they list 29 front Islamic organizations set up in the United States with the specific goal of sabotaging America from within and destroying.
We heard a bunch of coming across the street. I figured it was a bunch of locusts or bugs, I don't know, June bugs or something. They flew over our head probably 7, 8 feet. One of them hit the pole, and you could hear it on the ground. I thought it was one of those katydid things. But you tell me, why in the hell would this shit right here be flying around? Somebody please explain to me what the hell that is. And I found out as I was picking it up, if you squeeze that on the end on each end, then it's going to do it one time, then I guess it shuts it off. So somebody, for the love of God, please tell me what that is. What the hell? Stop it.
I get crazy, 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 I get crazy.
Trump counselor Alina Haba shows off puppet Biden fake Oval Office set equipped with a teleprompter. We got a video on this. Attorney and counselor to President Donald Trump, Alina Haba, posted a video on X Tuesday exposing the fake Oval Office used by Joe Biden during his puppet presidency. Take a look.
Look at the room that they put me in. We're in Biden's fake Oval Office, everybody. And I've actually figured this out. I now know why. I now get it. Turn the camera around. There is a screen, teleprompter to the face. All I can say is the last administration was a...
Who cares? I tell you what, who cares? Donald Trump cares. And when we balance the budget, you know what that means? That means our deficits stop interest rates come smashing down. His goal is to have external revenue. You know, the way I think about it, we all are so used to paying taxes. We're so used to it. We have like Stockholm syndrome. You know, don't stop the Internal Revenue Service, God forbid. How about this? The rest of the world leans on our economy, breathes off our economy. Not only is our economy $29 trillion GDP, but we consume $20 trillion a year. We are the buyer of everybody's stuff. We buy everybody's stuff. So who's more important? The people who sell stuff or the people who buy stuff? So we are the buyer of everybody's commodities, products, goods and services. Everything comes from us, right? Let them pay a membership fee. We all understand that model. Let them pay. How about we, you and I, and every single person we know pay less? How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things? These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal.
The U.S. government's about to crash our economy, cause a recession, and crash the stock market on purpose all at the same time. Now, if you've been waiting to buy a car or buy a home, things are going to get cheaper. But let me explain. It's not just Trump that wants to crash the economy. It's the Federal Reserve that needs this to happen as well. Now, first off, the stock market, I said back in December it was going to crash at least 40% for the NASDAQ this year. A lot of people laughed at that. But you need to understand, 2016 Trump and 2024 Trump are two totally different people. Trump is on a mission. He's on a mission to cut government spending and to cause deflation. He wants things to get cheaper. That is not ideal for the overinflated stock market. Now, the Federal Reserve, their debt, their trillions and trillions of dollars that they need to refinance this year, they cannot refinance at the current interest rate we're at right now. They need the economy to contract and to go into a recession so they can actually cut interest rates and refinance the debt that they have. Now, Trump also has many promises that he's made as well, and he cannot accomplish those without causing a deflationary state. You cannot cut government spending and cause the economy to contract without going into a recession. So will there be some negatives from this, like job loss? Yes, but this will cause many things that many people have been looking for, like home prices to fall, interest rates to become better, and people just be able to afford loans in general. So this is what's about to happen. The government is going to intentionally crash the economy. Now, for those of you that say, oh, well, Trump's just causing a recession, the fact is we had an inverted yield curve in 2022 that ended in 2024, and no matter who got elected, we were going to go through a big recession.
You know, just wanted to touch on when it comes to pederasts and prosecuting them and the people who are related to them or were in league with them. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person that's ever done any time for this Epstein. for Epstein. I guess the American people, like Pam Bondi, seemed furious in her letter to Kash Patel about the FBI withholding evidence from her on Epstein. Apparently, according to her words, there's a truckload of new evidence. Any updates on that?
It's funny. I actually just asked about this and where it's at. And I just want to say, I understand and hear the American people's, ask. And sometimes they mistakenly put it on me, and that's fine. I'm part of the administration, but I will say that I personally have checked in. They are going through it. You have to be patient, because when you are wanting to prosecute and actually do something with the information that you have to make sure that you save the integrity of the investigation so that we can bring these people to justice, so that we can hold grand juries, so that we can do certain things. You have to be careful. The value for the American people to know immediately would undercut, we have to do it. We have to expose it. We're going to be transparent 100%. But we also have to make sure we're not putting any children in danger, putting any minors that don't want and do not deserve to be publicly identified in danger, and making sure that we put forth the information that would still assist us in getting these individuals to justice. It's such a convoluted thing, but I will tell you, transparency is 100% coming. We did get a ton of documents. Pam's letter, I think, was directed towards the SDNY, that we now know the individual in charge there had directives to go in the FBI and said, be the resistance. Do not turn over the documents. We have no tolerance for that. But I would just say to the American people, yes, They got the documents. Cash instructed those individuals that you must cooperate. One resigned, who was leading the charge in not cooperating. And now we have them and we have to go through them. There is a very large amount of documents, I've been told. They are going through them. And I also, frankly, believe in transparency. We have to give the American people transparency. And we have been, frankly. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to wait a little.
New research has uncovered the heaviest element yet known to science. The new element is governmentium. It has 1 neutron, 25 assistant neutrons, 88 deputy neutrons, and 198 assistant deputy neutrons, giving it an atomic mass of 3 on 12. These 3 on 12 particles are held together by forces called morons, which are surrounded by vast quantities of lepton-like particles called pions. Since governmentium has no electrons or protons, it is inert. However, it can be detected because it impedes every reaction with which it comes into contact. A tiny amount of governmentium can cause a reaction normally taking less than a second to take from 4 days to 4 years to complete. Governmentium has a normal half-life of 6 years. It does not decay, but instead undergoes a reorganization in which a portion of the assistant neutrons and deputy neutrons exchange places. In fact, governmentium's mass will actually increase over time, since each reorganization will cause more morons to become neutrons, forming isotopes. This characteristic of moron promotion leads some scientists to believe that governmentium is formed whenever morons reach a critical concentration. This hypothetical quantity is referred to as critical morass. When catalyzed with money, governmentium becomes administratium, an element that radiates just as much energy as governmentium, since it has half as many peons, but twice as many morons. All of the money is consumed in the exchange, and no other byproducts are produced.